The scope of the Democratic Party's defeat in the 2024 presidential election goes far beyond just the top-line numbers. The collapse of Democratic strongholds in blue states, urban centers, and demographic groups across the country tell the story. And nowhere was this truer than in Kamala Harris's home state of California. The Democrats lost the national popular vote in 2024 for the first time in 20 years, when in 2004, Republican President George W. Bush defeated Democratic challenger Senator John Kerry. In 2024, Kamala Harris underperformed nationally with just over 75 million votes, 6.25 million votes fewer than President Joseph Biden's 81.2 million votes in 2020. Even though Kamala Harris won California's 54 electoral votes with just over 9.25 million votes, it was a 1.8 million vote shortfall from President Biden's 11.1 million votes in the Golden State in 2020. Kamala Harris fell well short of Joe Biden's vote totals in all of California's 58 counties but one, Alpine, the state's least populous county, and where she only edged out Biden by 3 votes. Kamala Harris had trouble with key Democratic voting blocs. Solano County, home of Travis Air Force Base and the largest black population in the Golden State, did not turn out for the vice president. Harris fell short of Biden's 2020 vote totals by nearly 13.5%. Black voters have long been a loyal core Democratic voting bloc. According to the Pew Research Center, they were crucial to Biden's victory in 2020, when 92% voted for him and just 8% backed President Donald Trump. In San Francisco, where she served as district attorney from 2004 to 2010, she fell short by more than 54,000 votes compared with Joe Biden in 2020, and more than 21,000 votes compared with Hillary Clinton in 2016. Cross-sector factors that contributed to the outcome include San Francisco's high cost of living that exceeded both pre-pandemic levels and the national average, and the highest property crime rate in the state of California. In Alameda County, home to the city of Oakland, where Kamala Harris was born and raised and launched her professional career as a prosecutor in the 1990s, she received 118,000 votes less than Joe Biden in 2020, a drop-off of over 19%. She even underperformed Hillary Clinton in 2016 by 3%. In the Sacramento region, the state capital where Kamala Harris was the Attorney General of the state of California, her vote share slid more than 13% compared with Joe Biden in 2020. In deep blue Los Angeles County, which is heavily Hispanic Latino and where Kamala Harris resides in Brentwood, she underperformed Joe Biden's vote total by a substantial 20% and even fell short of Hillary Clinton in 2016 by 2%. Voter turnout tumbled dramatically. 600,000 fewer people voted in 2024 than in 2020. Voter turnout declines for the Democrats were widespread, extending into California's Inland Empire. Kamala Harris was the first Democrat to lose San Bernardino and Riverside counties to a Republican since John Kerry 2 decades ago. The Inland Empire has seen significant growth in the Hispanic Latino populations over the last 20 years. This demographic now makes up a substantial portion of the region's population, more than half in both counties. Historically, the region has been blue-collar working class. The 84% Hispanic Latino Imperial County, nestled in the southeast corner of the state, flipped red for the first time since President George H.W. Bush won it in 1988. Kamala Harris's percentage of the vote dropped nearly 25% versus Joe Biden in 2020. Collectively, California's 12 largest Hispanic Latino majority counties, many in Central California's San Joaquin Valley, gave President-elect Donald Trump a larger share of their vote than in 2020. Kern County, where Hispanic Latinos make up most of the farm workers and more than half of the population, continued to trend Republican. These Central California voters are some of the grandchildren of the farm workers that marched with Cesar Chavez in the 1960s and 1970s. Their main issue in the 2024 presidential election was the cost of living. In addition, the violent crime rate in the San Joaquin Valley is the highest in the state. Kamala Harris's shrinking voter support from 2020 in key Central California counties with large Hispanic Latino populations, a decline of 20% in Tulare and Fresno, and a shortfall of 17% in both Kings and Merced, highlights her underperformance compared to Joe Biden in the Golden State and underscores why she lost the popular vote nationally. This decline in Democratic voter turnout was more consequential to the election outcome in the state of California than the increase of roughly 75,000 votes Trump received in 2024 compared to 2020. In the next episode of the Jumptuit 2024 Election Datacast Series 1, we'll look at how Kamala Harris and Donald Trump fared in East Coast blue states, New York, New Jersey, and Massachusetts, that contributed to Harris's popular vote loss. The reduced support for Harris, particularly in metropolitan areas that have traditionally been the party's winning electoral strongholds, played a significant role in Donald Trump's victory in the 2024 presidential election. I'm Claire Leka. Thanks for joining us for this special Jumptuit Datacast series on the 2024 U.S. presidential election. Jumptuit Datacast, your gateway to expert data.